Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of your potential, looking out over the vast landscape of what could be, and yet something holds you back. Self-doubt, fear, hesitation. You hear that voice in your head, the one that whispers, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'll fail, maybe I don't have what it takes. But here's the truth. Success, transformation, and mastery do not come from waiting until you feel ready. They come from belief. Belief in your own ability to grow, to improve, to endure. And most importantly, belief backed by consistent action, the kind of action that day after day, step after step, builds an unstoppable force within you. See, life isn't about single, grand moments of breakthrough. It's about the small daily choices that, when compounded over time, shape who you become. The people who achieve greatness, they are not gifted with some magical power. They are the ones who simply refuse to stop. They believe in themselves, even when the world gives them every reason to quit. So tonight I'm here to tell you, just believe in yourself and stay consistent. Not once, not twice, but every single day. Because that's how you forge the life you were meant to live. Belief is the foundation upon which all success is built. Before you take action, before you develop skill, before you achieve anything of significance, you must first believe that it is possible. This is not just some abstract, feel-good notion. It is a fundamental principle of human psychology and achievement. If you do not believe in your ability to grow, improve, and succeed, then you will hesitate, second-guess yourself, and ultimately sabotage your progress before it even begins. Think about it. Every great achievement in human history started with someone believing that it could be done. The Wright brothers believed man could fly before they ever built an airplane. Thomas Edison believed he could create the light bulb even after failing thousands of times. Elon Musk believed in the possibility of reusable rockets when the entire aerospace industry said it was impossible. What separates these individuals from those who never achieve greatness is not superior intelligence or innate talent, but rather an unshakable belief in the vision they pursued. When you believe in yourself, you activate a different part of your brain. Instead of looking for reasons why something won't work, you begin looking for solutions. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, you start seeing them as challenges to overcome. This shift in mindset alters the way you perceive effort, failure, and even time itself. It transforms problems into opportunities and setbacks into lessons. Many people fall into the trap of thinking they need external validation before they can believe in themselves. They wait for someone else to tell them they are good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. But the truth is, if you rely on external validation, you will always be at the mercy of other people's opinions. You must be the one to validate yourself. You must be the one to say, I can do this, even when no one else believes in you. Belief is not about ignoring reality or pretending that success is guaranteed. It is about recognizing that your mind plays a crucial role in determining what is possible for you. When you believe in your ability to succeed, you behave differently. You take more initiative, you persist longer in the face of difficulty, and you recover from failure more quickly. Without belief, even the smallest challenges can feel insurmountable. With belief, even the greatest obstacles become stepping stones to something greater. This is where self-doubt becomes one of the most dangerous forces in a person's life. It sneaks in quietly, whispering thoughts of inadequacy and failure. It convinces you that you are not ready, that you need more time, more experience, more resources. And the longer you listen to that voice, the stronger it becomes. The tragedy of self-doubt is that it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those who believe they cannot succeed will not put in the effort required to succeed, and as a result, they will confirm their own doubts. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that belief is something you either have or don't have. But belief is not a fixed trait. It is a skill that can be developed. It is like a muscle that grows stronger with use. Every time you take a small step forward despite your doubts, you reinforce the idea that you are capable. Every time you face a fear and push through it, you add another brick to the foundation of your confidence. This is why action is so important. You don't need to wait until you feel confident to start. You need to start to feel confident. Confidence and belief are built through action, not the other way around. The more you take action, the more evidence you gather that you are capable, and the stronger your belief becomes. If you look at highly successful people, you will notice that they often appear to have an almost irrational level of confidence in themselves. This is not because they have never experienced failure, but because they have trained themselves to trust their ability to figure things out. They understand that belief does not mean you will never fail. It means you will not let failure define you. Your brain is constantly looking for patterns and reinforcing whatever you repeatedly tell yourself. If you consistently feed it with doubt, it will search for evidence to confirm that doubt. If you feed it with belief, it will search for evidence to confirm that belief. This is why the way you speak to yourself matters. Your internal dialogue has a direct impact on how you perceive yourself and what you believe is possible. Many people think they need to see proof before they can believe in themselves, but that's not how belief works. You must believe first, and then the proof will come. You must decide that you are capable, and then take the actions necessary to prove it to yourself. If you wait for proof before you believe, you will never take the actions required to create that proof. Belief is a choice. It is a decision you make every single day. It is the difference between taking action and hesitating, between pushing forward and giving up, between achieving something great and settling for mediocrity. Consistency is the silent force behind every great success. It is not about grand gestures or bursts of motivation, but rather the small repeated actions that accumulate over time. People often look for a magic formula, a secret shortcut that will bring them instant success, but the reality is far simpler and yet far more difficult to accept. What you do every single day matters far more than what you do once in a while. Progress is not made through occasional inspiration, but through daily commitment, even when the excitement fades. In the beginning, starting something new feels exciting. Whether it's a fitness journey, a new business venture, or a personal development goal, the initial burst of motivation makes everything seem possible. But motivation is fleeting. It is unreliable. It comes and goes based on mood, external circumstances, and emotions. And emotions, this is where most people fail. They start strong, but when motivation fades, they stop showing up. They wait for the feeling to return. And when it doesn't, they assume something is wrong. The truth is, the people who achieve great things are not the ones who rely on motivation. They are the ones who rely on discipline. They show up whether they feel like it or not. Every major achievement is built on a foundation of small, consistent efforts. A writer does not complete a book in a single sitting, but by writing a little every day. An athlete does not reach peak performance from one intense workout, but from years of consistent training. A successful business is not built overnight, but through countless small decisions, daily effort, and a relentless commitment to progress. The problem is that people often underestimate the power of these small actions. They dismiss them as insignificant because they do not see immediate results. This mindset is dangerous because it leads to inconsistency, and inconsistency kills progress. Imagine two people who decide to improve their health. One goes to the gym 5 times in the first week, then loses motivation and stops. The other goes to the gym for 3 times a week every week for a year, who will see better results. The answer is obvious. Consistency always wins over intensity. Intensity burns out quickly, but consistency builds habits, and habits shape identity. This is why the key is not to go all out for a short period, but to develop a sustainable routine that you can stick to long term. One of the biggest obstacles to consistency is the unrealistic expectation of immediate results. People start something, and when they do not see progress right away, they get discouraged. They assume their efforts are not working, so they quit. What they fail to realize is that real progress happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. A seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. It takes time. It must be watered and nurtured consistently before it grows. The same principle applies to any goal. You must put in the work long before you see the results. Another challenge is boredom. Repetition is not exciting. Doing the same thing over and over again feels tedious. This is why so many people jump from one thing to another, always chasing something new instead of sticking with what works. But mastery comes from repetition. The most successful people are not the ones who constantly seek novelty. They are the ones who have learned to embrace the grind. They understand that consistency requires doing the work even when it feels dull, even when there is no immediate payoff. Discipline is the foundation of consistency. It is the ability to stick to something even when every part of you wants to quit. It is the willingness to delay gratification, to put in the effort now for a reward that may not come for months or even years. Most people struggle with this because we live in a world that prioritizes instant gratification. Everything is designed to give quick dopamine hits: social media, fast food, entertainment. But success does not work that way. Success belongs to those who can endure the wait, who can keep moving forward when there is no immediate validation. A powerful strategy for maintaining consistency is to create systems rather than relying on willpower. Willpower is finite. It gets depleted throughout the day. If you rely on it alone, you will fail. Systems, on the other hand, automate behavior. If you want to read more, set a specific time every day to read. If you want to exercise, make it a non-negotiable part of your schedule. Remove the decision-making process and make the action automatic. The action automatic. The less resistance there is, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. Most people think they need to take massive action to change their lives, but the truth is that small, consistent actions are far more powerful. The person who improves by just 1% every day will see exponential growth over time. The person who makes small positive choices daily will eventually create a life that looks drastically different from the one they started with. It is not about making one big leap. It is about making small steps every day and trusting that they will add up. Motivation is a fleeting emotion, unreliable and inconsistent. It comes in waves, appearing when circumstances are favorable and disappearing the moment adversity strikes. People often wait for motivation to take action, believing that they need to feel inspired before they can move forward. This is a fundamental mistake. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Discipline is the force that carries you forward when motivation fades, when conditions are not ideal, and when every part of you wants to quit. Those who rely solely on motivation find themselves trapped in a cycle of inconsistency. They start projects with enthusiasm, set ambitious goals, and work hard when they feel good. But as soon as the excitement wears off or obstacles appear, they lose momentum. Their progress is dictated by how they feel in the moment. This approach is unsustainable. Success is not built on feelings. It is built on habits and routines that function regardless of emotional state. Discipline removes the need to feel motivated. It transforms effort into a habit, making action automatic rather than optional. The greatest achievers in any field are not the ones who are constantly motivated. They are the ones who have mastered the ability to act, even when they do not feel like it. A world-class athlete does not train only on the days they feel inspired. A successful entrepreneur does not work only when they are excited about their business. They show up every single day, whether they feel like it or not, because they understand that consistency is the key to mastery. Discipline is a muscle. It grows stronger with use and weakens with neglect. Every time you push through discomfort, you reinforce the habit of discipline. Every time you give in to excuses, you make it harder to act in the future. This is why small daily choices matter so much. Skipping one workout, procrastinating on one task, or making one excuse may seem insignificant in the moment, but these small lapses accumulate over time. Each decision either strengthens or weakens your ability to stay disciplined. A major reason why people struggle with discipline is that they depend too much on willpower. Willpower is finite. It depletes throughout the day as decisions and challenges arise. If you rely on willpower alone, you will eventually fail. The key is to remove the need for constant decision making by creating systems and habits that make discipline automatic. If you want to exercise regularly, schedule your workouts at the same time every day so they become part of your routine. If you want to read more, set a daily reading goal and stick to it no matter what. The fewer decisions you have to make, the easier it becomes to remain disciplined. Another obstacle to discipline is the desire for immediate gratification. The human brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid discomfort. It prefers short-term rewards over long-term gains. This is why so many people struggle with consistency. They give in to distractions, procrastination, and comfort because these things provide instant pleasure. But every time you choose comfort over progress, you delay your success. The ability to delay gratification, to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term achievement, is one of the most powerful traits a person can develop. This is not to say that discipline means eliminating all enjoyment from life. Rather, it means having control over your actions instead of being controlled by impulses. It means doing what needs to be done first before indulging in leisure. It means setting priorities and sticking to them regardless of how you feel. Discipline is about making the right choices even when the wrong ones are easier. Building discipline requires discomfort. Growth does not happen in a state of ease. The more you push yourself beyond your comfort zone, the stronger your discipline becomes. This is why challenges and setbacks should not be avoided but embraced. They provide the resistance necessary for growth. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you reinforce your ability to persist. Every time you push through difficulty, you strengthen your mental toughness. One of the most effective ways to develop discipline is to set clear, non-negotiable standards for yourself. Decide in advance what you will do, and do it regardless of external circumstances. If you commit to waking up at a certain time, do it every day without exception. If you set a goal to work on a skill for an hour each day, follow through even when you do not feel like it. The more you stick to your commitments, the more you build trust in yourself. So, most people struggle with discipline not because they are incapable, but because they have not trained themselves to act without emotion. They allow feelings to dictate their actions instead of relying on habits and principles. They seek comfort instead of progress, ease instead of challenge. But discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. It is the force that separates those who dream from those who do. Failure is an inevitable part of any journey toward success. No one who has ever achieved anything significant has done so without facing setbacks, obstacles, and moments of defeat. The problem is that most people view failure as the end rather than as a necessary step in the process. They see it as proof that they are not capable, not talented, or not meant to succeed. This mindset prevents growth, stifles potential, and leads people to quit before they ever truly begin. But failure is not a signal to stop. It is feedback. It provides valuable information, exposes weaknesses, and presents an opportunity to adjust, improve, and move forward with greater knowledge and experience. People often avoid failure at all costs because they associate it with pain, embarrassment, or inadequacy. They hesitate to take risks because they fear falling short. But this fear itself is what holds them back from progress. The truth is, failure is one of the most powerful teachers. Every mistake, every misstep, every setback carries a lesson that can be used to refine skills, strengthen resilience, and increase the chances of future success. The most successful individuals in any field are not those who have never failed, but those who have learned how to fail productively. who have learned how to fail productively. They have mastered the ability to extract knowledge from their failures and use that knowledge to improve. The problem is that society often glorifies success while overlooking the failures that led up to it. People see the achievements, the accolades, and the breakthroughs, but they rarely see the countless failed attempts, the struggles, and the moments of doubt that came before. This creates the illusion that successful people are simply gifted or lucky, when, in reality, they have endured more failures than most. They have simply learned not to let failure define them. Instead, they use it as a stepping stone. One of the biggest shifts a person can make is to stop fearing failure and start embracing it as an essential part of growth. Instead of asking, what if I fail? The better question is, what can I learn if I fail? This shift in mindset transforms failure from something to be avoided into something to be utilized. It creates a sense of curiosity rather than fear, allowing individuals to approach challenges with a willingness to experiment, take risks, and adapt. When failure is seen as a source of learning, it loses its power to discourage and instead becomes a tool for progress. Many people assume that failure means starting over from scratch, but this is rarely the case. Every failure carries lessons that make the next attempt stronger. A person who fails at launching a business does not return to square one. They return with more knowledge about what works and what does not. An athlete who loses a competition does not lose all of their training and effort. They gain insight into what needs to be improved. Progress is never completely erased by failure. It is refined by it. Failure also serves as a test of commitment. It forces individuals to confront how much they truly want something. When faced with failure, some people give up, deciding that the struggle is not worth it. Not worth it. Others push forward, adjusting their approach and refusing to let setbacks determine their fate. The difference between these two types of people is not intelligence or talent, it is resilience. Those who succeed are not necessarily the most naturally gifted, but the ones who refuse to give up when things get difficult. One of the biggest mistakes people make is taking failure personally. They interpret it as a reflection of their worth or ability rather than as an external event that provides information. When failure is internalized, it creates self-doubt and insecurity, making it harder to take risks in the future. The reality is that failure is neutral. It does not define a person's potential or determine their future unless they allow it to. The key is to detach self-worth from outcomes and focus instead on the lessons that can be learned. Some of the most successful people in history have faced repeated failures before achieving greatness. Thomas Edison famously conducted thousands of failed experiments before successfully inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job for a lacking imagination before going on to build one of the most successful entertainment empires. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team before becoming one of the greatest athletes of all time. What these individuals have in common is not an absence of failure, but a refusal to let failure stop them. They viewed their setbacks as opportunities to grow, and because of that, they eventually reached extraordinary levels of success. The ability to embrace failure as feedback requires a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing setbacks as a sign of inadequacy, they must be seen as a sign of effort, experimentation, and progress. The only true failure is refusing to try or allowing one misstep to become a permanent obstacle. Growth happens through trial and error, through repeated attempts, and through learning from mistakes. The sooner a person learns to see failure as a teacher rather than an enemy, the sooner they unlock their full potential. Self-doubt is one of the greatest barriers to success. It creeps in quietly, whispering that you are not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough. It makes you question your abilities, hesitate when you should take action, and retreat when you should push forward. The worst part is that it feels real. The voice of self-doubt is so convincing that it makes even the most talented and hard-working individuals second-guess themselves. It is a silent enemy that can sabotage progress before it even begins. Many people assume that confidence is something you either have or you don't. They believe that those who succeed were simply born with an unshakable belief in themselves. But confidence is not a fixed trait. It is something that is built step by step through action and persistence. No one starts out feeling completely confident. Every successful person has battled self-doubt at some point. The difference is that they did not let it stop them. They moved forward despite it, and in doing so, they built confidence through experience. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel confident before taking action. They believe that once they have enough belief in themselves, then they will finally start that project, take that risk, or pursue that dream. But this approach is backwards. Confidence does not come before action. It comes from action. The only way to develop true self-belief is to prove to yourself through repeated effort that you are capable. Every time you push through doubt and take action, you weaken the power of self-doubt and strengthen your confidence. Mind is powerful, but it is also unreliable. It will try to protect you from discomfort, risk, and failure. It will create excuses, rationalize inaction, and convince you that you are not ready. But the reality is that no one ever feels 100% ready. If you wait until you feel completely prepared, you will wait forever. The people who achieve great things are not the ones who started with absolute confidence. They are the ones who started despite their fears and built confidence along the way. One of the most effective ways to overcome self-doubt is to take small, consistent actions that reinforce your belief in yourself. Confidence is like a muscle. It strengthens with use. When you step outside your comfort zone, even in small ways, you teach yourself that you are capable of handling challenges. Over time, these small wins accumulate, and the voice of self-doubt loses its power. The more you prove to yourself that you can take action despite fear, the more confident you become. Another powerful strategy is to change the way you talk to yourself. Most people are their own harshest critics. They replay their mistakes, focus on their shortcomings, and speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they care about. But words matter. The way you talk to yourself shapes your beliefs about yourself. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, that you will fail, or that you are not as capable as others, you will believe it. But if you consciously choose to speak to yourself with encouragement, reminding yourself of your strengths, past successes, and potential, you can shift your mindset. It is also important to recognize that self-doubt is not unique to you. Everyone experiences it, no matter how successful they appear. Even the most accomplished individuals have moments of uncertainty. The difference is that they do not let it control them. They acknowledge it, but they do not allow it to dictate their actions. They understand that self-doubt is just a thought, not a fact. Thoughts can be challenged, changed, and replaced with more empowering beliefs. One of the biggest sources of self-doubt is comparison. In today's world, where people constantly see the highlight reels of others on social media, it is easy to feel inadequate. You see someone else achieving success, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel discouraged. You question whether you are falling behind, whether you are good enough, whether you will ever reach that level. But comparison is a trap. It distorts reality, making you believe that everyone else has it figured out while you struggle. The truth is that every person has their own journey, their own challenges, and their own timeline. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Fear of failure is another major driver of self-doubt. So many people hold themselves back because they are afraid of failing in front of others, afraid of judgment, afraid of looking foolish. Failure is not something to be feared. It is something to be embraced. Every failure is a lesson. Every mistake is an opportunity to grow. People who succeed are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who fail, learn, and keep going. Building self-belief requires persistence. It requires showing up even when you feel uncertain. It requires trusting yourself enough to take the first step, even when the path ahead is unclear. The only way to truly overcome self-doubt is through action. Action builds evidence, and evidence strengthens belief. If you wait until you feel completely confident before you begin, you will never start. But if you start despite the doubt, you will prove to yourself over time that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. Success is not determined by talent alone. It is not reserved for the most intelligent, the most gifted, or those born into privilege. The defining factor that separates those who succeed from those who do not is consistency. The ability to show up day after day, regardless of circumstances, emotions, or obstacles, is what leads to mastery and achievement. Yet, consistency is one of the most difficult things to maintain because it requires discipline, patience, and an unwavering commitment to long-term goals. Many people start strong. They set ambitious goals fueled by motivation and excitement. They push themselves hard in the beginning, expecting quick results. But when progress is slower than expected or challenges arise, their enthusiasm fades. They skip one workout, miss one deadline, or break one habit, and suddenly inconsistency takes over. The cycle repeats itself, starting with excitement, followed by struggle, then discouragement, and ultimately giving up. This is why so many people fail to reach their full potential. It is not because they are incapable, but because they lack the ability to stay consistent when motivation disappears. Motivation is temporary, it is an emotion, and like all emotions, it fluctuates. If success were dependent on motivation alone, no one would achieve anything significant. The key is to build habits and systems that allow progress to continue even when motivation is absent. This is why consistency must be a non-negotiable commitment. It cannot be something that depends on how one feels in the moment. It must be a decision that is followed through every single day, regardless of external conditions. Small, consistent actions lead to massive results over time. Most people underestimate the power of daily repetition. They assume that progress must be dramatic or immediate, and when they do not see instant results, they become discouraged. But true success is not built overnight. It is the result of small, seemingly insignificant efforts compounded over weeks, months, and years. Indeed, a single workout will not transform a person's body, but consistent training over time will. Reading one book will not make someone an expert, but reading every day for years will. The secret to success is not intensity, but consistency. The greatest obstacle to consistency is the human tendency to seek immediate gratification. People want results now. They want shortcuts, quick fixes, and instant success. But real achievement does not work that way. Growth takes time. Skill development requires patience. Success is built through perseverance, not through sudden bursts of effort. Those who understand this are the ones who achieve lasting success because they do not quit when they do not see immediate progress. They trust the process, knowing that every small effort contributes to a bigger outcome. One of the most powerful ways to maintain consistency is to eliminate the need for decision making. When something becomes a habit, it no longer requires willpower. This is why routines are so effective. If a person wakes up at the same time every day, exercises at a set time, or commits to a specific work schedule, they remove the mental effort of deciding what to do. Consistency becomes automatic when actions are ingrained into daily life. The fewer choices a person has to make, the easier it is to stay on track. Accountability is another key factor in maintaining consistency. When people hold themselves accountable, whether through tracking progress, setting clear goals, or involving others in their journey, they are more likely to follow through. Writing down goals, creating a schedule, or having a mentor or accountability partner increases the chances of staying consistent. It creates external reinforcement that makes it harder to deviate from the path. Discipline is what sustains consistency when things get tough. There will always be moments of exhaustion, frustration, and doubt. Life will present obstacles, unexpected responsibilities, failures, and days when nothing seems to go right. This is when most people give up, but those who succeed understand that these moments are part of the process. They do not allow emotions or temporary setbacks to dictate their actions. They show up anyway. They do the work even when it is difficult, even when they do not feel like it, even when progress seems invisible. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for the right time to be consistent. They tell themselves they will start when they have more energy, when conditions are perfect, or when they feel ready. But there is no perfect time. Waiting only delays progress. The best time to start is now, and the best way to stay consistent is to commit, no matter what. The ability to be consistent is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Talent alone is not enough. Intelligence alone is not enough. The world is full of talented people who never reach their potential because they lack the discipline to stay consistent. But those who show up every day, who commit to steady progress, who refuse to quit even when results are slow, those are the ones who succeed.